Episode 8, Shaken. January 22nd, 2025. Alfheim, Undine Territory, the Fountain of Beginnings. With water dripping from his drenched hair and armor, Ryu kneels with his hands resting on the stone ground in front of him. His whole being quakes with trauma. It's as if every terrible act Ryu ever did during the past 2.5 years consumes his mind all at once. Suddenly realizing that the Dragonheart blade is sheathed at his side, Ryu frantically unclasps the blade from his belt, stands, and throws it far away from the group. With a loud thud, the sheathed blade lands a few yards from them. Panting, Ryu finally turns to Saki, Akio, and Mariko and Katsumi. No words are spoken. Ryu's golden eyes quiver with terror.
Finally, he's back, but he's so broken. Ryu?
Terrified, Ryu retreats as Katsumi approaches. She stops as Ryu holds up his hands to her.
No, Kat. I've hurt you too much already. In SAO, I said so many horrible things to you. I fought against you, and worst of all, I almost killed you.
But you didn't. I'm alive, Ryu. I'm all right.
All right. Katsumi, how can you say that after what happened when...
Saki.
What?
Don't.
What's she talking about, Kat?
It doesn't matter. All that matters right now is freeing you from the gift.
Shakily, Katsumi suddenly collapses to her knees. Her vision starts fading to black.
No, not yet. Not when we're so close to saving Ryu.
Mariko and Saki and Akio surround Katsumi.
What's wrong with her? Her whole body is shaking.
But her HP is still in the green.
Oh no. This must mean...
Teary-eyed, Katsumi looks up at Ryu one last time before she feels herself fade away and her vision descend into darkness. A red error sign reading disconnection pops up in Katsumi's blacked-out vision.
So, this is it?
January 23rd, 2025. Japan, Tokyo Hospital Room. Weakly, Katsumi opens her eyes to a bright hospital room. Looking down at her pale, trembling arm, she notices an IV sticking out of it. The machines next to her beep every few seconds in time with her own beating heart. Turning to the side, Katsumi sees Saki sitting next to her bed.
Finally, you're awake. How are you feeling?
Like all the life's been drained out of me.
You gave us quite the scare, disappearing in game like that. I logged out right away and went straight to your house. You were unconscious with the nerve gear still on your head. You were barely breathing. The ambulance rushed you to the hospital and they've been monitoring you ever since then. I'm so glad you're okay, Katsumi.
Katsumi's eyes gradually fill with tears. She tries blinking them away, but the tears start gliding down her pale face.
What's wrong, Katsumi? Are you in pain?
In a way. I failed Ryu. I couldn't save him.
Yes, you did. You freed him from the Dragonheart blade, and fate took care of the rest.
What do you mean?
Akio and Mariko filled me in last night. Shortly after you were disconnected from the game, Ryu vanished as well. It turns out some player named Kirito made it to the World Tree, defeated Oberon, the Fairy King, and used Oberon's administrator privileges to free all 300 trapped SAO players from ALO. Ryu's free. He's finally free.
I can't believe it. It's over. Thanks to Kirito. This must mean he found Asuna. In the end, I could only do so much for Ryu. Maybe I'm not as strong as I had thought. Where is he?
Ryu's mother hasn't left his side. She's with him now in the hospital room down the hall.
Does he know I'm here?
No, I don't think so.
Good. I don't want him to visit me.
What? But he has no idea what's happened to you. He'll want to see you.
That's just it. I don't want him to see me like this. Please, Saki, don't let him see me.
Sure. But why not?
Because I know Ryu will blame himself for what's happened to me. It will destroy him. He's suffered enough.
Do you think you'll want to see him in the future?
I want to see him right now. I want to jump out of this bed, run down the halls, and leap into his arms, but I can't. Maybe someday we'll see each other again, but not today. Not until he heals from his trauma.
That may take quite some time.
I know, but he's worth the wait.
March 3rd, 2025. Japan, Tokyo, Katsumi's house. Sitting on her bed, Katsumi leans against the wall of her room. Next to her, the afternoon sky casts bright light through her window. Saki kneels on Katsumi's bed next to her and stares out of the partially open window. Smiling, Saki gazes at the pink cherry blossom tree standing between Katsumi and Ryu's houses.
Wow, Katsumi. I keep forgetting how incredible your view is.
I have a lot of memories with that tree.
Memories with Ryu, I suppose?
It's hard to imagine life without him.
Well, you two did grow up together. I remember watching the both of you in grade school. You were inseparable.
Hopefully we will be again. One day.
That day may be sooner than you think.
What makes you say that?
Look who's coming toward your house.
Katsumi turns and looks out the window. Ryu stands in the courtyard beneath the cherry blossom tree. He swallows as he starts to approach Katsumi's front door. Only a few steps away, Ryu turns and moves back towards his house. Stopping once again, Ryu turns slowly back to Katsumi's house. His gaze drifts to Katsumi's window, causing Saki and Katsumi to duck behind the walls of her room. Peering around the walls again, Katsumi and Saki see Ryu flex his hands and step up to her front door. The chiming doorbell sounds throughout the house.
Your parents aren't home, right?
Right.
Do you want to see him?
It's too soon. I can tell that he's still fairly shaken. If he were to see me now, he would only do more damage than good at this point.
All right, I'll talk to him.
Saki gets off the bed and makes for the door. Crouching behind the wall and peering through the window, Katsumi can see Ryu's saddened face as Saki opens the door. Listening very intently, Katsumi can just barely overhear their conversation.
Hi, Ryu.
Oh, hey Saki. Is Kat home?
Yeah, she is, but...
Can I see her?
Ryu, she...
Please, Saki, you have to let me see her. I have to know that she's alright. I haven't seen her since I've woken up, and it's driving me insane.
Biting her lip, Katsumi stares out at Ryu, who has a look of desperation on his face.
Ryu, Katsumi and I think you might need some time on your own to heal and adjust to real life again.
Katsumi can't see Saki, but she can tell by her voice that this is hard for her.
But Katsumi's a huge part of my life. I need her.
At this point in time, I think seeing Katsumi would only remind you of your traumatic experiences in SAO and ALO. Ryu, you need time to allow those horrific memories to diminish.
Horrific. That's an understatement. Every day and night, it's the same terror shrouding my mind. Me mercilessly stabbing Kat with my sword and crushing her with my clawed hand. That's why I have to see her. I have to see her. Please, Saki, let me see her.
Ryu, now is not the time. You will see Katsumi again, just not today. I'm sorry.
Ryu's back heaves as his tears increase. Saki continues to hold him. Katsumi can't take any more. She closes her window and turns away. Heavy tears cascade down her face. A few endless minutes pass before Saki finally re-enters the room. With a heavy sigh, Saki plops onto the bed next to Katsumi, who simply stares forward, her face shiny with tears.
How much of that did you hear?
Enough.
Saki lies back on the bed, looking up at the ceiling. The two of them sit silently for a short while. Finally, Saki turns to Katsumi.
I've never seen anyone so damaged before.
He's been through a lot.
Do you think he'll ever recover?
In time, I believe he will. But he won't be the same Ryu we once knew.
April 27th, 2025, Japan, Tokyo, High School Activities Room. A bright sunrise shines through the window of the activities room. Saki sits on the couch reading a magazine on VR MMORPGs. Sitting on the floor and leaning against the couch, Akio fiddles with his atmosphere equipment. Mariko sits cross-legged on a chair in the corner, drawing in her sketchbook. Katsumi sits in the window, still looking out at the sunrise with her cane propped up against the wall beside her.
Still can't believe ALO is back up and running again, after everything that's happened.
Well, it's all thanks to the World Seed. Now there are countless VR MMORPGs. According to this article, the Einkrad Castle has been loaded into ALO. Now players have another chance to defeat all 100 floors of it.
Hopefully this time without the whole, being trapped in the game with the potential of actually dying IRL.
With these new Amnisphere rigs, there's no chance of that ever happening again. The Amnisphere protects users from any negative side effects for using it. Well, almost any.
Saki glances over at Katsumi, who continues looking out of the window. Looking away, Saki's mouth drops when she realizes Ryu is standing in the doorway of the room.
Ryu.
Everyone turns to the door. Katsumi and Ryu lock eyes.
Hey, guys. I know I said I'd take some time on my own, but I just...
Ryu, I don't know if it's the best thing for you to be here right now. We agreed it would be good for you to take a break from the group for a while.
Saki, it's okay.
Are you sure, Katsumi?
It's time.
All right. Come on, let's give them a minute.
Silently, Saki, Akio, and Mariko exit the room. Slowly, Ryu walks to the center of the room and stops. He balls his hands into fists and sets them in the pockets of his leather jacket.
Kat, I know Saki's alluded to the fact that you don't want to see me, which is totally understandable. I don't blame you if you never want to see me again. I've done such horrible things to you.
That's not why I didn't want to see you, Ryu.
Katsumi grabs her cane with her trembling hand and steps down from the windowsill. Leaning on her cane, she takes a few steps towards Ryu.
I didn't want you to see me.
Kat, what happened to you?
The Dragon Heart Blade happened.
What do you mean?
When the Dragon Heart Blade struck me at the end of SAO and drained my HP, my nerve gear electrified my brain and nervous system. But thankfully, the game ending stopped my nerve gear from finishing the job. However, my physical strength will never again be what it once was.
No. No!
Ryu collapses on his knees and falls on his hands.
Is that why you disappeared from ALO that day?
Yes. I pushed my body too hard. I shouldn't have stayed logged in for so long.
This can't have happened to you! Not to you!
Still crouched on the ground, Ryu stares at the floor and breathes deeply.
You said it happened when the Dragon Heart Blade struck you. You mean when I struck you?
This is why I didn't want you to see me, Ryu. I knew you'd blame yourself for this.
Because it's my fault, Kat!
No, it's not! The only reason you took the Dragon Heart Blade was to save my life. All of this, everything that's happened is because of me.
Stunned, Ryu stares back at Katsumi with sorrow-filled eyes. He steps closer to her and gently wraps his arms around her.
Kat, don't ever think that this is your fault. If I could go back, knowing everything that's happened, I'd grab that sword every time if it meant saving you. I can't lose you. Not you, Kat. But what happened to you is my fault. I wasn't strong enough to control the blade, and you paid the price.
Then get stronger, Ryu.
What?
You have to stop feeling sorry for yourself and for me. When I woke up from SAO with shaking hands, I realized that I could either become bitter and resentful about my condition, or I could accept it and move on with my life.
What if I can't get stronger?
If you want to move on, you'll have to find a way.
I don't know if I can move on.
It helps to have friends alongside you.
I'm sure that's true, but I think this is something that I need to do alone.
I understand.
Slowly, Ryu turns and walks to the door. He stops in the doorway and looks back at Katsumi.
I'm going to become stronger, Kat. For you and for me. I'll find a way, no matter how long it takes.
Take all the time you need.
Goodbye, Kat.
Alone in the activities room, Katsumi clings to her cane.
Goodbye, Ryu.